when we talk about the elements of academic writing, so what are the elements of academic? So what is academic writing? What does academic writing consist of? These are the four things that the whole academic writing revolves around. So when you are writing academically, you are using quotes, you are summarizing, you are paraphrasing, and you are making analysis and synthesis. These are the things that we do. You pick up any chapter 2, for example, literature review or discussion section or anything like that. You will see these four things. There will be sections where there will be quotes, there will be summaries, there will be paraphrases, and there will be synthesis or analysis of that. So you, for example, you give a quote and then you analyze it and synthesize it. Now, here are some examples. Number one, of quoting. What is quote? What is a quote and how do we make use of quotes in our academic writing? A quote is basically the use of direct words or texts of the authors we cite in our writing or review. So that's the first thing. Quote is the direct words of others that we make use of in our academic writing. So that's the first thing. Quotes, if the quotes are up to 40 words, we will enclose those in quotation marks, and quotes above 40 words are indented. So I give examples of these two in the coming sections. In case the citation should be included, whenever you quote from anyone, whenever you go give a quote from anyone, what you need to do is to give the citation, which actually means to give information about the authors or the books or the source from which you have taken the quote. Secondly, generally direct quotes should be used occasionally. Do not make use of a lot of quotations. ये नहीं है कि like you just keep on giving quotes, he says this and he says this and he says this, and so there is no analysis of your own in that. That will not be good academic writing. Okay. We are moving through this a bit quickly. So the first one, quoting. Two examples. Example number one, quote that is less than 40 words. And example two, quote that is more than 40 words. If you are giving a quote of less than 40 words, this is how you do that. So you begin, for example, the quote begins from here. And this is from my own work, my own thesis. I have given this quote. Reflection has different types, and so and ke baad, this area, all of this is quote. If you look at this, the different types of reflection, it could be argued refer to the process of reflection, where the levels could be associated with the content. So the quote ends here. Full stop, quote close, and surname of the author, the year of the publication, 2012, comma, and page 23. It's on page 23 because, so I have given evidence for this quote. You can go there, you can take Khan 2012, whether their thesis or book or something, and you can, on page 23 you will find this. This is an example of a quote that is more than 40 words. A quote that is more than 40 words, you don't need the quotation marks. What you need basically is to indent it to the right. So you have indented it to the right, and then at the end you give the citation. Khan, 2012, page 23. So the previous one is a quote of less than 40 words. You enclose it in quotation marks. This one is more than 40 words, and so what do? You just indent it to the right. Okay? By pressing which button? Tab. Right? Okay. Now, paraphrasing is what? So that's the second thing that we do is paraphrasing. Besides quotes, what we do, the second thing is paraphrase. Paraphrase is what? Paraphrase is basically when you rewrite or represent the ideas of others in your own words. And we do this in order to summarize those things, in order to bring in our own critical analysis into it. Remember, the most important thing that you do in your academic writing is not quoting. Quoting should be minimum, it should be minimized, because quoting actually means you don't have alternative words for it. You cannot summarize it, and those words are essential. So the most important thing is that this rewriting is done in a way that the essential and complete meaning or message and context of the original text remain the same. Remember, whenever you are paraphrasing, you should not alter or change the meaning of the original. You should not even add to it or subtract from it. It should be exactly representing the actual meaning in shortest possible words. Generally, paraphrasing is done for shorter text varying from a sentence to a few sentences or a paragraph. You cannot paraphrase like a whole chapter. You can paraphrase maybe a longer sentence or a paragraph, or इससे ज़्यादा नहीं. Okay, why do we paraphrase? Paraphrasing is aimed at, number one, locating and presenting main ideas from the target text. Main idea from the target text को locate करके और उसको present करना in our words. Second, demonstrating the writer's knowledge of relevant literature. When you are paraphrasing, that actually means you understand. Otherwise, how can I as a supervisor or as a senior academic know that you understand? I can guess that from your paraphrasing of the writing. Okay, then demonstrating the writer's knowledge of relevant literature. Tisra, supporting arguments, providing evidence. You want to provide evidence related to the argument that you are making. For example, if you are a student of political science and you want to say that democracy is the best form of government, you want to give evidence in favor of this. And so you cannot give everything that others have said, but you can present their ideas in minimum possible words, in your own words. So for that you need this. Tisra, next, avoiding too many or too long direct quotes. Paraphrasing is important because it helps you in reducing a lot of quotations or a lot of quoting in your paraphrase. How to do paraphrasing? How to do paraphrasing? Number one, read the text you want to paraphrase with attention. Read the text. Read. Whatever many times you need. So, if you are already an expert in that field, you will need less rereading. But if you are new to that field, you will need a lot of reading. Okay? Third, note key ideas and their connection. Make notes. Next, write the entire text in your own words. Write the entire text in your own words. Next, review, revise, rewrite. Review, revise, rewrite for language structure, meaning, accuracy. Check with the original text and make sure nothing important is in the original is either missing or in addition. Then आप check करें, you have not added anything that is not in the text, or you have subtracted something from it. Next, cite and acknowledge the original text. Very important. Although you are writing it in your own words, the ideas are not yours. Those are someone else, so you have to cite. You have to give citation that Flan is saying this. It's not you that you are saying it. Okay, example. अब आप इसको देखें. This is example of paraphrasing. original, this is the original sentence, and this is what I have paraphrased. The original sentence, and this is what I have paraphrased, the same thing. You see, interestingly, the original sentence is also mine, I have paraphrased it. So I have rewritten it, but look at the words, the sentences, and the kind of presentation that is there. They are quite different. Okay? Now, example of a paragraph. If you are paraphrasing a paragraph, so this is the original paragraph. This is again from my thesis. This is an original paragraph. I have paraphrased it in this way. Look at this. This is a paragraph. This is a paraphrase of this. Simpler, shorter, but still exactly presenting those ideas that are presented there. If you are writing a whole thesis, you can have this long paragraph, but if you are presenting a shorter piece, you have to do this. Okay? Next. This is the last part of it, summarizing. What is summarizing? There is a bit of difference between summarizing and paraphrasing, right? Summarizing is what, or making summaries in academic writing is the process of condensing or briefly stating the main ideas. The main ideas of longer pieces of writing. Summaries are much shorter than the original text. And the original text needs to be cited. So, these are the general rules. If there is a paragraph of a few sentences, reduce it to one paragraph. If there is an article of several paragraphs, reduce it to like 1 or 2 paragraphs. A longer article or a book can be summarized into maybe a page or 2. So you can, the case summarization is when you are just taking the bigger ideas from something. You are not going into the detail. You are not representing the same thing as we do in paraphrasing. In summarizing, we have more freedom to actually present the bigger ideas. In some cases, we might miss certain things that we cannot miss in paraphrasing, but we might miss those things here, because here the focus is on the bigger ideas rather than the details of things.
Can you notice it?
Kind of. Okay, we'll come to that. Now, useful summaries कौन सी होती है? Useful summaries are much shorter than the original text. One, factual and descriptive rather than analytical. Generally, factual, descriptive होती है. Next, contain only the most important essential ideas from the original. Next, written in the summary writer's own words. Next, accurately represent the original and correct in terms of language, vocabulary, punctuation. This is something that a lot of students make a lot of problems in. That is because of the problems in language. Here is an example of a summary. Look, this is an interesting example. Ab original ko dekhe. This is the original. I have read it several times and I just summarized into 113 words. The total is about 1,000 words, 1,200 words. And this is 113 words. ये इतनी बड़ी बात मैंने इन दो यानी ये जो वन है तकरीबन एक आप समझिए एक सेंटेंस में की है. Okay, so that's an example of how to summarize bigger texts or larger texts into smaller things. आप जो समझे कि जो बाद दफा sometimes हम किसी का शेयर प्रेजेंट करते हैं. A share is a summary of a huge thing. Again, उस original share पे हम आते हैं. लाइफ की मीनिंग के बारे में बड़ी बड़ी किताबें लिखी गई हैं. किताबें शायर ने कहा है जिंदगी क्या है, what is life? People have written big books on this. What is life? Even encyclopedias लिखी गई. शायर says, जिंदगी क्या है? अनासिर में ज़हूरे तरतीब. जिंदगी क्या है? अनासिर में ज़हूरे तरतीब. समराइज हो गया. मौत क्या है? इन्हीं अज्जा का परेशान होना. Smaller, like you can just he just summarized it for you. उस वक्त समझ आती है जब आपको वो bigger की समझ आती है. Only then can you summarize things. शायद has a bigger and a huge understanding. As a result, he can see it in the minimum possible words. So that's an example of summarizing. Read this in a bit of detail again. If you have a question, you can ask. So far, academic writing consists of quoting, paraphrasing, summarizing, और इन सब के इर्द रिवॉल्व होता है क्या? Analysis and synthesis. When you are quoting, giving quotes, when you are paraphrasing things, when you are summarizing, you are making use of critical analytical practices. So you are actually analyzing and you are critiquing and you are synthesizing ideas. ठीक है, यानी वो जो एनालिसिस और सिंथेसिस है वो इन सब के दरमियान में से पूरा प्रोसेस गुजर रहा होता है. Okay, any questions or comments on this so far? Yes.
That पैराग्राफ में से डेटा समराइज करेंगे उसमें कोटेशंस रिपीटेड होंगे. कोटेशंस को एज इट इज लिखेंगे या उसको भी वर्ड्स में शार्ट करेंगे उसको भी?
Look, we can always make quotes, the use of quotations, or we can do without quotations. It's up to you. Remember, there's a simple rule for quotations. Quotations should be minimum, should have minimum possible inclusion in your academic writing. You can only quote when you think I can't say it better than this. And when it's important that you just need to reproduce that. If you can say it better than that, if you can reduce it in terms of words, you should always paraphrase. Quotation should always be kept minimum.
So इसकी example ऐसे हो सकती है कि आप quoting something जो कुरान से या हदीस से है तो आप उसको exactly उसी तरह लिखेंगे, उसको paraphrase नहीं कर सकते, उसकी summary नहीं.
You can write summaries, but then you have to give that evidence कि ये इसके बेस पे है. कुरान में भी summary वो तो लिखे गई है ना जो तफसीर है. They have been done. तफसीर लिखी गई है, but then you have to give evidence for that. तो evidence के लिए आप आयत लिख सकते हैं. हम में से कितने ऐसे हैं जो कुरान के बारे में बातें करते रहते हैं, उनको ओरिजिनल का पता भी नहीं होता अक्सर. ठीक है, but academics जो है वो हमेशा इस तरह की बात करेंगे कि उनके पास एविडेंस है. तो एविडेंस कब है? जब आप कोई कोट दे सकते हैं. वैसे कोट से ये पता चलता है कि इस बंदे ने ये किताब या ये जो आर्टिकल है ये रीड भी की है. ठीक है, अब कायदे के फरमान हर एक सुनाता रहता है कायदे ने कहाँ पे कहा है, किस बुक में वो चीज़ है. कुछ केसेस में मिल जाता है, बट इन मोस्ट केसेस वो नहीं. सो वन, इट गिव्स एविडेंस. Paraphrasing actually means कि you understand, that's why you can paraphrase. अगर आपने सिर्फ कोड ही कर दिया, इधर स्टूडेंट्स क्या करते हैं बदकिस्मती से, और उनके टीचर्स भी शायद, कि वो कॉपी करके पेस्ट कर देते और फिर उसको बिगाड़ देते हैं ऐसे ऐसे करके, और फिर कहते ये हो गया पैराफ्रेज. That's not paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is writing your own words if you understand it. आप उसको पैराफ्रेज कर सकते हैं, समराइज कर सकते हैं, क्रिटिकल एनालिसिस करते हैं. जब आप समझते हैं, समझने के लिए पढ़ने की ज़रूरत है, पढ़ने के लिए इंटरेस्ट की ज़रूरत है, टाइम की ज़रूरत है, पैशन की ज़रूरत है. दैट इज मिसिंग. हमें ज़रूरत डिग्री की है, बट दैट्स इट. यस,
ये पैराफ्रेजिंग सब्जेक्टिव भी हो सकती है सर?
सब्जेक्टिव मैंने आपको बता दिया. रिमेंबर, एकेडमिक राइटिंग के अंदर सब्जेक्टिविटी आप सिर्फ उस वक्त ला सकते हैं जब आप कहते हैं कि ये मेरा इसके ऊपर कमेंट है. अदरवाइज आप किसी और की पैराफ्रेज तो आप उसको कर रहे हैं ना.
लेकिन सर हमारे पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंसेस
के मुताबिक हम उसको इंटरप्रेट करेंगे ना, कुछ भी हो।
इंटरप्रेट आप कर सकते हैं ना. फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू कैन से सो आई थिंक द ऑथर इज सेइंग दिस, बट यू कांट से द ऑथर इज सेइंग दिस. Maybe you can say we can argue that the author is saying this. You can say the author is saying this. आप इसको इस तरह से समझिए. मुझे उसने कहा कि उसको कहोगे जाओ. एक बात. मुझे उसने कहा और मेरा ख्याल है कि उसका मतलब ये था कि आप जाएं. तो ये दोनों डिफरेंट हो गए कि नहीं? इसमें आपने अपना ख्याल डाला, उसमें तो हमने डायरेक्ट उसकी बात. You should not misrepresent that the original author. वो आप मिसरिप्रेजेंट नहीं करेंगे. ये एनीवन एल्स? What did you get from it? हमें सबसे ज्यादा क्या चाहिए? If we want to be able to write good academic writing, आप objectivity के अलावा याद रखें सबसे अहम चीज that you need is reading. कोई भी रिसर्च पेपर का की समरी लिखने के लिए यू नीड टू रीड दैट एटलीस्ट 4-5 टाइम्स. कौन आप में से ऐसा है जिसने एक रिसर्च आर्टिकल 5 बार पढ़ा हो? मुझे तो लगता है एक बार भी नहीं पढ़ा. एक बंदा वैसे इधर हाथ उठाए जिसने एक रिसर्च आर्टिकल एक से ज्यादा बार कभी पढ़ा. आपने कौन सा पढ़ा?
सर ब्रिटिश इन्फ्लुएंस ड्यूरिंग वजीरिस्तान के
कितनी बार पढ़ा है?
3 बार.
क्यों पढ़ा है?
सर शौक था.
एक शौक था. दूसरा
सर आई वाज critically understanding
critically so that I can develop deeper understanding. पहली बार कई बार आपको समझ नहीं आएगी वो चीजें. ठीक है? तो this is an example. आपने कौन सा आर्टिकल एक से ज्यादा बार पढ़ा?
सर मैंने 2-3 किताबों के तबसरे लिखने तो उनको मैंने
कई बार पढ़ना पड़ता है क्योंकि समटाइम्स पहली बार पढ़ने से आप शायद उस तरह से नहीं समझते, मिस इंटरप्रेट कर सकते हैं. अगेन ये आप पीछे जाए, इसी तरह पीछे. व्हाट इज इट ऑल अबाउट? एकेडमिक इंटेग्रिटी, एथिक्स. ये भी अनएथिकल है अगर आप किसी को एकेडमिक राइटिंग में मिस रिप्रेजेंट करें. दिस इज अनएथिकल. अच्छा, इवन ये भी अनएथिकल है कि आप नहीं समझे और आप समझ रहे हैं कि मैं समझ रहा हूँ और आपने उसे लिख लिया.